When most people think about the next great war, what do they picture? Probably missiles, tanks, soldiers, right? Headlines flashing across your screen, battlefields on the news. But what if we're all looking in the totally wrong place?
What if one of the smartest investors on the planet is basically screaming from the rooftops that the war is already here? Not coming soon, not on the horizon, but happening right now, today.
Okay, so let's really get into this, because this isn't just some abstract idea or a far-off geopolitical theory. No, this is about your savings, your investments, your entire financial future. And this huge warning, it's coming from Ray Dalio. You know, the guy who built the biggest hedge fund in the world and, yeah, famously called the 2008 financial crash.
And look at the specific words he's using here. A capital war. I mean, think about that. This is something totally different from the trade disputes or tariffs we're used to hearing about. A capital war. That's when money itself, yeah, your money, literally becomes the weapon. It's when access to dollars, to bonds, to assets, that's how you reward your friends and, well, how you punish your enemies.
So in this explainer, that's what we're going to do. We're going to unpack exactly what Ray Dalio is seeing that most of us are missing. We're going to look at the history, the major forces that are colliding right now, and what the markets themselves are trying to tell us. Stick with me, because by the end, you're going to see why this invisible war might just be the single biggest financial story of our lifetime. To understand where we're going, Dalio has this one simple rule. You have to look at the past. Because what's happening right now, it's not new. It's a pattern. It's an echo, an almost perfect echo, of some of the most chaotic times in all of history. Okay, let me give you an example. Picture this. It's August 15th, 1971. President Nixon gets on TV and just drops a bomb. He completely severs the US dollar's link to gold, just like that. Overnight, the very definition of money changed. Now, Dalio, he was just a young trader back then, and he thought, oh man, the markets are going to crash. But they didn't. They rallied. So what happened? Well, it's simple. When the money itself loses value, everything priced in that money goes up. Stocks, houses, you name it. It feels like a boom, but it's really an illusion. And this is the key. This exact kind of monetary earthquake happened right before the huge conflicts of the 20th century.
So, and this is really the most important part. Dalio isn't just giving us a history lesson here. He's handing us a map, a roadmap for the present. He's saying, look, all the tension, the economic fights, the capital controls we're seeing right now, this is exactly what it looked like in the years right before the world went to war. He's not talking about then. He's talking about now.
Okay, so how does a capital war actually happen? Like, what are the mechanics? Well, Dalio breaks it all down into just three massive forces that are all smashing into each other at the exact same time. And yeah, it's creating a perfect storm.
It's like a three-step process, really. First, you get a mountain of debt that just can't be paid back. Second, the trust that holds the entire global financial system together, it starts to crack. And then, the final step, countries start using money itself as a weapon.
All right, let's talk about force number one, the debt trap. Just look at that number, $38 trillion. For decades, the rest of the world was more than happy to buy up this US debt. It's what kept the whole system running smoothly. But that's changing, big time. Now you've got major pension funds in countries that are supposed to be our allies like Denmark and Sweden coming out and publicly saying, yeah, we're selling our US bonds. Why? Because they think US finances are, and this is a quote, no longer sustainable. Think about that. When your biggest customers start heading for the exits, you've got a serious, serious problem. And that leaves us right into force number two, the trust collapse. See, for the last 70 years or so, the world has played by a certain set of rules, a sort of gentleman's agreement. You could invest your money anywhere, across any border, and believe your assets were basically safe. Well, that trust is evaporating. It's just gone. And when huge investors, even in friendly countries, start to worry that their money could be frozen or just taken, they don't stick around to see what happens. Fear takes over, and that fear starts directing where literally trillions of dollars go.
And if you want a perfect example of this, look no further than force number three, which is maybe the most dangerous of all, the weaponization of money. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the West's response wasn't just sending weapons. They froze $300 billion of Russia's own money, their central bank reserves. Poof, gone, overnight. Now, you better believe every other country on Earth saw that happen. China saw it, India saw it, Saudi Arabia saw it, and they all had the exact same thought. Wow, if they can do that to Russia, can they do it to us? The entire global system is now being rebuilt around that one single question.
Okay, so this isn't just some theory, right? This isn't just Dalio's opinion. You can actually see these forces playing out in the markets today, if you know where to look. The smart money, it's already on the move, and it's telling us a very, very clear story.
I mean, the data speaks for itself. Look at gold, the ultimate asset. It's just soaring. At the very same time, you're seeing money quietly sneak out of U.S. markets. And the dollar? Well, it's been losing a lot of ground, especially when you measure it against something real, like gold.
And this is where it gets really personal for you and me. Your portfolio might look like it's doing great on paper, but you have to ask yourself a critical question. Great in terms of what, right? If your stocks are up, say, 10%, but the dollar you're measuring them in has lost 39% of its value against gold, are you actually getting richer? Or are you just running in place? Dalio's big warning is that what looks like a gain is actually hiding a very real loss of your purchasing power.
So all of this, it really boils down to a fundamental choice. Dalio says that in every single one of these massive financial shifts throughout history, there have always been two types of investors. And which one you choose to be, well, that's going to define everything that happens to your money.
On one side, you have the unprepared investor. This is the person who just waits. They think, this system is too big to fail, or things will just go back to normal. So they keep all their eggs in one basket, one country, one currency. Then you have the prepared investor. This person acts before the crisis is obvious to everyone. They see the patterns, they've studied the history, and they diversify their assets.
So what does being prepared actually look like in practice? It means owning things that actually protect you when the system itself is shaking. And that's exactly why Dalio recommends that most people should have somewhere between 5 and 15% of their portfolio in gold. Now, it's not some magic solution that will solve everything, but it's what's called an effective diversifier. It's an asset that tends to do really well exactly when other things, like your stocks and bonds, are getting hammered.
And really, that's the whole point. This isn't about trying to predict the exact day the music stops. It's about understanding the room we're in, understanding the environment, and building a portfolio that's tough enough to handle whatever comes next. Because if you're prepared, you never have to panic.
Look, the forces that Dalio is talking about, they're not coming, they're already here. The money is moving, the trust is breaking down, so the question isn't if this big shift is happening anymore. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it? So, which investor are you going to be?